Hello, I'd like to talk about how AI influences and impacts the society, how it became a integral part of our life, and I would like to go through some very challenging cases. So this is the video where Tesla Model S parks itself. You can have the same feature in a number of other cars, but it also has a feature called Smart Summon, when in the mobile app you can summon your car from the parking. So it's basically removes the valet parking. It is a major stress for many parking companies. This really helps to understand how AI makes our life easier. This video shows how drones, these small lightweight drones, help to optimize the logistics for such a giant company such as Amazon. And the Federal Agency on Aviation of the US in August and September 2020 approved the drone delivery. So we used to dream that to have the product delivered next day. Now, when you push the button order in your mobile app, you can get the order in 30 minutes. This is absolutely great, and it works. It already works right now. That's avatar, very detailed avatar. On the right-hand side, Rolf Duck, the author of the project, has created this project. It is used by companies who do video content and games. Great animated characters that can be used in real time and can show these great results. The digitalization really even shows even the small details on the skin, and not using a lot of compute. So these were the inventions that happened in the last 5 years. And I have been working in AI and computer vision for more than 10 years. I remember that 10 years ago, we were thought to be crazy men, and no one thought that these revolutions would happen in our lifetimes. But it happened within 5-year period from 2000. From 1957, humanity tried to create the imitation of neural networks of neurons, and the perceptron was created by Frank Rosenblatt in 1957. And then in 1980s, there were some leap forwards in terms of AI backpropagation, the learning algorithm. In the 90s, the convolutional neural network started to be used to recognize the handwriting. Starting from 2012, there was a number of disruptions that happened. This was the era of deep learning, when a very cheap gaming equipment, meaning the video cards, the GPUs from NVIDIA, a PhD student from Canada was able to train AlexNet model, and after that the growth was exponential. There was a great effect in terms of minimizing the errors, and now we see lots of applications in transportation, smart cities, and healthcare and other things. The trends are the following: the robots is not only about the robotizing manufacturing. Many of you have the robotic vacuum cleaners at homes, some assistants, and some social robots will soon be with you too. Smart cities, they do become smart, actually. They help to improve the quality of life and your comfort. Safe and secure cities. Police used face recognition to catch criminals and do investigations, and now you can commute to your work quicker to make sure that you save some time for yourself and for your family. Virtual assistants, everyone knows about Alexa, and many assistants live with us. At the same time, we shouldn't forget about agriculture and mining. In agriculture, for instance, they increase the production of milk and other resources with the use of sensors and computer vision. They monitor cows and they optimize the life cycle and the production process. We often say AI and something, like AI and machine, AI and house. But AI is a tool, and we use it for a number of things. For instance, AI for work. So let's look at the algorithms, GPT-3 from OpenAI. These algorithms help to really expand the capabilities of virtual assistants. So you won't need to look at the calendar and answer the emails, and you'll be able to respond to routine emails. Obviously, hard labor in difficult and dangerous conditions should be replaced by robots. The human life is invaluable. The courageous robots that can work in any conditions, even when they are very harsh to the human body. It is happening now. It used to be that the developing something used to be only for developers. For instance, if you want to have a pink button in the middle of the screen, you just put it, and the AI makes a code for that. If we talk about healthcare, there is a number of use cases. For example, there are algorithms that help to use the retina and can look at the retina, and it can detect the starting symptoms of the heart disease. And there is an algorithm that has a 94% accuracy that helps to diagnose cancer. It is now much better. It's doing that much better than even an experienced doctor. There are more and more algorithms, and they learn more and more, and that means the error rate is going down. Now, in everyday life, in some countries started to use the face recognition to pay for purchases. In China, every month, more than 2 million devices are being sold for face-to-pay technology.
How convenient is that? You pay with one touch in a shop, just look at the camera, smile, and the system understands what account the funds should be debited from. The system is going to understand what discount it should make, and you don't carry a stack of cards around with you. And it's all contactless. That's so good for the life. Remember the systems that make our transportation safer. For instance, in Moscow, there's one of the largest systems in the world that analyze over 100 million events every day. Cars that are stolen, optimal routes, and that is done to set up several tens of thousands of sensors to rationalize the operations of traffic lights. Every second saved on Moscow Underground may cost billions of rubles in savings for the city that can be assigned for much more interesting things for the citizens. This has been a difficult year. We are living amid a pandemic, and scientists and developers worldwide are fighting COVID using robotics that deliver medicines and equipment to hard affected regions, even under lockdown. AI helps to find medicines quicker. AI takes people's temperature by a remote when they enter a building or an underground station. All of these things are underpinned by underlying technological trends that I want you to understand. For instance, we understand that AI is not just powerful supercomputers someplace in a data center. That's a whole gamut of devices. It used to be IoT, now people are saying IAOT. There are IP cameras, smartphones, wearable devices, AR gadgets. It's very important that computing is done on the edge, because, I mean, people don't want to wait several seconds and even 40 milliseconds to get the response from the data center. And it is this combination of edge computing and 5G, that's a powerful trend that's going to make the next technological revolutions. And along with this, we are developing this need for more computing capabilities. Every company is creating their own TPU or AI chips, and on the whole, this is another trend. The market is very fragmented these days, and we are waiting for new leaders to emerge in AI chips. Among the scientific trends, you know, the trends in creation of AI, there's a huge need for training algorithms on noise-polluted data, on major sets of noise-polluted data. You know, right now, if you have fractions of errors in the data, that really affects the quality of algorithms. But there are new approaches emerging to clean this influence out of the training. There are simulators. You know, our colleagues train several algorithms. For instance, in this game, GTA 5, you can emulate a lot of situations in a game that you will never emulate in the real world. And we emulate, then we transpose into the real world. There's a major trend and the danger in synthesizing images. Everyone heard about deepfakes. There are trends in development of deepfakes. There are trends in algorithms that fight deepfakes. And we are keenly awaiting for the times when AI is going to be resolving not just narrow and specific cases. We are keenly awaiting the advent of generalized artificial intelligence, and sometimes, you know, run in parallel, resolve various issues in parallel. There's all kinds of fears bandied about in society that AI is going to deprive us of our jobs, and machines are going to get out of control and destroy everyone, like it was in this Terminator franchise with Skynet. We do need to base our inferences from facts, on facts, and all these new waves of anxiety arise after an incident with a driverless car, and then there are single cases, and those driverless vehicles have clocked up thousands of miles around the world. And if you look at the dry facts, many robots are much more safe than humans at the wheel. So right now, the major risk, the most dangerous risk, is the human at the wheel. So we are calling everyone on basing all your assumptions and inferences and conclusions on facts. You don't need to be afraid of AI anymore. There were times when people were afraid of the advent of combustion engines, and you know, cabbies losing their jobs to drive to engines. You know, you don't need to spend several days on the road from Moscow to St. Petersburg. It only takes half a day, and actually several hours. AI has been developing, and if you look at this Boston Dynamics video, there are things to aspire to. You know, Skynet is not really that professional, is not really that advanced. There's all kinds of talk about limitations of on privacy. People are very anxious about what their personal data, where their personal data is going to end up with. But people do control algorithms. They retain control over algorithms, and people can only release a solution into manufacturing if it is in line with a local law. So you can't see that many dangerous things. So, for instance, there's a lot of concerns, there's a lot of discussions about these things being expensive. There were cases when manual labor was replaced by an algorithm, and it appeared that algorithms were cheaper. For instance, there were scandals like this article in Wall Street Journal. You know, some startups say that this is a powerful robot, but then there are armies of people kind of mimicking AI in the background. So this is this phony AI. You know, AI is quite far from 100% automation, but to make a breakthrough and not to be limited in your technological development, you need to very actively look into edge computing and build up development. You need to build up investments in edge chips that can work on the device. You need to fight the energy consumption. You don't need to build up the power supply. You need to fight the consumption. You need to develop talent. You need to develop new coders, new researchers. Ideally, you need to train people in applied math. You need to make people understand that this is the future profession. And on the whole, what the society needs to understand to develop artificial intelligence, regulations must develop at the same pace that matches the development pace of the algorithms. Right now, they are far behind. And we need to popularize AI, and we don't need to be afraid of it. I mean, the more developers we have, the greater the chance that all these breakthrough things are going to happen. And all these major corporations and small startups, they're pretty much on the same level playing field. There are no precepts, there are no norms along which you will develop AI. There are no textbooks. So everyone is pretty equal in endeavoring the creation of AI. So it's important for the scientific community and the applied scientists to work with the businesses at the juncture of understanding of algorithms and practical applications. And it's important to remember that the state support is there. And it's important for the government to keep this support and to be a like-minded entity with the developers and with the researchers. In 10 years, we do believe that AI is going to come into every house. It will be a genuinely good assistant, and it will be an extension of you. It will be an augmentation of your capabilities. Don't be afraid. Get in touch with us. I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.